Argentina, murdering 85 people and injuring hundreds of others. This should be a stark reminder of two things. Firstly, that Iran has been obsessed with killing Jews everywhere, not only in Israel. Secondly, that Iran has a global reach and is exporting its bloodshed and destruction to the four corners of earth. This has been going on now for decades. However, today, we once again meet to discuss the security situation in the Middle East. But again, instead of focusing on the root of the problem, the Council will focus on a symptom and not the cause. It is the same old discussion which brings us no closer to peace or security, not for Israel, not for the Palestinians, and not for the region. The true reason for the destruction, devastation, and bloodshed is apparently never to be named and addressed here. It is there for all to see, but there is seemingly a willful blindness here to name its name. This Council regularly ignores it. We also heard it today from the chef de cabinet, preferring to focus on Israel. It's always easier. There's a country in our region that is a rogue and failing state, the Islamic Republic of Iran. Iran is failing its people and has subjugated its citizens since 1979, when it launched a revolution that only brought destruction. If one looks at all of the major conflicts in the Middle East, one finds the nefarious fingers of Iran. The people of Lebanon, Syria, Iraq, Yemen, and many others have all suffered because of Iran's attempts to inflame the region. Iran condemns and attacks nations making peace with the State of Israel, as some Arab and Muslim nations have in recent years. However, Iran's leaders still receive the red carpet treatment here only because of hypocrisy or political interest. Since the beginning of the Islamic Revolution, we have heard the refrain, "Death to Israel," and the Zionist regime will be wiped from the pages of history or from the face of earth. They chant it in rallies, and drape their ballistic missiles with these genocidal slogans as they parade through the streets. Only 1 month ago, Iranian Supreme Leader Ali Khamenei published on his X account, and I quote, "Death to Israel 7 times, a clear call for genocide." Even the Iranian delegation to the United Nations has tweeted an open threat for the destruction of Israel a few weeks ago. Recently, Iran launched over 350 missiles and drones at Israel. What more needs to happen? Colleagues, Iran has taken its annihilationist obsession against the Jewish state to a whole new level, with the digital countdown clock in Tehran showing how many days remain until the destruction of Israel by the year 2040. This is a picture of that clock in the center of Tehran. And this has been ignored for too long. Do not look away. This is not a minor issue. It tells everyone the indisputable intention of the Iranian regime. It is a disgrace, and it will be your disgrace if this continues to be ignored. With the dozens of conflicts raging across the globe, there is no other United Nations member state publicly calling for the countdown to the destruction of another United Nations member state. Where is the outrage? Where is the condemnation? Where is the action? Where are your resolutions? This is a direct attack on the Charter of the United Nations. If nothing is done about these openly genocidal obsessions, then this Council will finally lose even its pretension as a force for peace. This clock is a warning for Israel, but also a warning for the world. If the world looks away from the open and wanton call for the destruction of our nation, then yours could be next. I demand that action is taken. There should be no more meetings with Iranian officials until they have removed this clock, stopped supporting and financing terrorism, and ended the calls for my country's destruction. Without such action, the State of Israel can only assume that this position is at best not taken seriously enough, and at worst, that is privately endorsed by some of you. These are not mere words, because while the clock continues to tick, the uranium-enriched enrichment centrifuges continue to spin. In April, the head of the International Atomic Energy Agency said that Iran is weeks away from having enough enriched uranium to develop a nuclear bomb. Last month, the IAEA Board of Governors called on Iran to abide by its international commitments and seize the dangerous development of its nuclear program. Council members, today you will once again debate the merits of Israel's justified response to the pogrom against Israel on October 7th, a Hamas pogrom financed and inspired by Iran, a pogrom that Iranian officials openly support. Since October 7th, the State of Israel has been attacked totally unprovoked from Lebanon, from Syria, from Iraq, and from Yemen. All of the terrorist groups targeting us have one thing in common, and you know it. They are directed from Tehran. If we reach a situation of full-scale war in Lebanon, it is only because Hezbollah has shot thousands of rockets at Israeli civilians with the support and funding of Iran. You cannot say you didn't know. All of this requires immediate action by this Council. Colleagues, the Islamic Republic of Iran is not just an Israel or a regional problem. Iran has supplied military equipment to be used against Ukraine. You know it. Its proxies have turned one of the major global shipping lanes in the Red Sea and Gulf of Aden into no-go areas for international cargo ships. You all know that Iran stands behind these Houthi terror attacks, but you continue to bury your head in the sand and focus on us. Why? Why? Iran is the greatest threat to global stability because its ambitions and destruction are global. The Islamic Republic of Iran is the key to security and stability in the Middle East, and you ignore the key. The greatest outrage and most urgent to address are our 120 hostages, which are held by Iranian-supported and inspired terrorist organizations in Gaza. We demand their immediate and unequivocal release. We have seen again pictures of trembling 18-year girls only yesterday with injuries on their bodies and fear in their eyes. We do not dare to think what horrors they are experiencing at this very minute. I ask you, I beg you to look into their eyes and think about the sheer brutality of what Hamas is doing to them. The disgraceful situation of the hostages alone is a crime against humanity. But Hamas continues to exploit this council's inaction by hiding its commanders among civilians and its military positions in UNRWA schools. Yes, they hide themselves in UNRWA schools, and you continue to ignore that. I can tell you all this. The war will not end until these hostages have been released. We will not leave a single hostage behind. By this brutal kidnapping by Hamas, they are copying the example, again, of their paymasters in Tehran, who starting in November 1979, as we all remember, held 53 American citizens for 444 days against all international norms and humanity. This was the first warning about the intentions of the Ayatollah regime, and now we are merely talking about their latest bloody outrage. For 45 years, the Islamic Republic of Iran has been fanatical about exporting its brand of terror and bloodshed near and far. If the Council continues to ignore the destructive role Iran plays in the Middle East, in all Middle East conflicts, then sadly there will be war and the bloodshed will continue unabated. But if you choose to address this issue properly, we can improve the chances of peace and security in the region. The choice is urgent. The choice is yours. The countless lives of those who will die because of the Ayatollah's grand ambitions for Shiite regional supremacy are in your hands. Iran wants to export their supremacist Shiite revolution to your nations, and their weapons are armies of terror proxies causing death in every country they touch. Do not be fooled by the sham election and the reformist new president of Iran. You know that he is merely another puppet of the Ayatollahs to try and avoid diplomatic pressure and put a pleasant mask on evil. Look at their deeds. Do not listen to their empty words. Probably you will hear it today. Those who continue to accept the fake, nice words of Iranian officials know that they are just speaking with puppets, played by the Ayatollah. The Ayatollah has become used to this council's inaction, and he feels that it gives him the green light to the attainment of nuclear weapons and the immunity to continue expanding the terror of his murderous proxies. Colleagues, I have shown you the Iranian countdown clock to the destruction of the State of Israel. This is a promise for a continuation of conflict and war for decades to come. This is a direct threat and incitement to genocide. Nevertheless, I will face that threat with a prediction. If the Ayatollah regime in the Islamic Republic of Iran continues to threaten the region, intimidate and support its own people, attack its neighbors, and spill blood across the globe, it will find that its days are numbered. The proud Iranian people have had enough. The good people of the Middle East have had enough, and so have we. They all wait for the members of this council to pinpoint the true cause of conflict and bloodshed in our region. The Islamic Republic of Iran is a rogue state that is exporting its mayhem and destruction to all corners of the region. They are much, much bigger and more powerful than ISIS, and with near nuclear weapons capabilities. Iran's genocidal ambitions are not just a missing element in any conversation on Gaza. It's not just a missing element. They are the central element. Without taking meaningful action against Iran, the death and bloodshed will only increase and spread. This is the truth about the multiple front war